G'day, I'm Shane Wallace, and this is my very first podcast show, which I'm calling Conversations with Goers. My first guest, which I am so proud and honoured and excited to have with me, is the big Dan the man, Danny Shannon, who has like a story that is unbelievable. But it actually has, your story's blown me away. I became a follower not long after we met and started following you because you started putting content on social media platforms and everything. It was authentic, real. The story is unbelievable. And so I thought you're worthy of the very first podcast show I do, Danny. Thanks, mate. Thanks for coming on.
Absolute pleasure. And I don't know if that is exactly how we met. I think maybe I bumped you first.
You did. You bumped me on LinkedIn. You bumped me on LinkedIn and then we got in touch, had a phone call.
Yeah.
Like the good old days. I offer people on LinkedIn, how about a phone call like the good old days, mate? Like,
of course.
Don't even make an appointment. Just try. And if I can, I'll be answering, mate. Yeah,
for sure. Connection's number one. And then, I was really inspired by what you were doing with WorkApp, Shannon, because I'm on a bit of an entrepreneurial journey myself. I thought, all right. And then I learned a bit about buying in some shares from WorkApp, and I thought, fucking give me a crack because I believed in you. Absolutely. And I'd also believed in the value you were giving me. And I thought, well, fucking let me buy some shares. This guy could blow up and I'm part of it.
Oh, mate, you are part of it. You are a big part of it, mate, And, I'm sort of really blessed to be aligning myself with real people like you that have an awesome story and, have gone through massive hard times and come out the other end of it. And now you are a beacon of light for people that need your message,
Yeah, thanks, man. I love sharing the message of recovery as well. And also, of course, my business encapsulator as well,
Well, you've made a life out of recovery. It's and so maybe give the listeners a brief rundown on, let's just say the last 20 years of your life, because we know the last 12 years are just like a God sent, mission that you've achieved and accomplished. So, big pat on the back. But let's go back 20 years because that's where the stories and the diversity comes in when you were struggling and now you're thriving.
Yeah, thanks, Shane. I guess I am thriving. I love my life at the moment. Absolutely. I wouldn't change a single thing. Of course, there's some things I wish I had more of, but fuck, you can't have too much. But anyway, to go back, spent 17 years in addiction, in active addiction. I got involved in heroin at the age of 15. Prior to that, I was using every other substance, cocaine, LSD, pot, alcohol, I think as kids do to say, but nothing in excess. But the day I picked up heroin at the age of 15, basically my life spiraled out of control pretty fucking quickly too. And before you know it, by the age of 16, I was locked up in boys. I was in jail at 18. And mate, and I'm happy to dig in as deep as you want into that story, but basically it was just the next 17 years was pain, hurt, and misery, in and out of jails, institutions, hurting family, loved ones, hurting other people. And luckily for me, in 2009, I finally put down my last drug. And I began this journey of recovery that sort of gets me to where I am today. That's just in a real quick nutshell, brother. That's me.
It's awesome, and I love that, you've said to me that you had to find something worth living for, or that's what they told you, to come out the other end and stay out.
Yeah. And I don't even know that that's even how it happened, because people often say, Dan, what was your rock bottom, right? Because that's the thing, people think it takes a rock bottom to change your life, but it kind of wasn't even like that for me. My rock bottom went for 13 years. It was 13 years of being stuck on this substance called methadone. It's like a government prescribed heroin. Great stuff, actually, in a lot of ways, because it probably saved my life, the methadone, because what it did was it gave me the ability to kind of constantly be stoned, so I wouldn't be chasing heroin and all these other drugs desperately, not as desperately as you would without it. Strange thing, but so I think there's a lot of benefits to methadone, but the problem is the government suggests you get on it for 6 months this is what they said, right? They said, Danny, like get on the program. We'll get on for 6 months. It'll help. It will improve your quality of life. It will improve your quality of life, and it will also, in 6 months' time, you'll be able to get off the methadone, and you'll be able to have a new way of life. And that's not what happened,
Nah, it's wishful thinking sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
It'd take a lot of infrastructure, and you'd have to be stuck in that, like basically locked up.
Yeah, but look, so I got stuck on it for 13 years. That's 6 months, they told me. Turned out to be 13 years for me.
Right. But ultimately, it got you off the harry, eh?
Yeah, well, it did, and I think ultimately, it's part of my story. And I say I wouldn't change a single thing at all in my life, because it's all part of my journey. It got me to exactly where I am now, and having this ability to share my journey with people like yourself and the world, it lights me up. And because I love this shit,
Yeah, well, it was all worth it going down the bloody lowest spot you can go. Everything happens in life for a reason, they say, and I don't, some people are big believers in that. I kind of am. I sit in the middle with it, but I think the whole up and the down, as far as you go down, is as far as you'll end up coming up type thing. You know what I mean? If you do stick it, and that's where the Buddhas get right in the middle line. They don't go too high, so they don't go too low. And I think that'd be a bit boring.
Right.
Ups and downs and all arounds, eh? So one of the stories, and I don't want to glorify, the whole situation of getting locked up as a young fella and that, but I do want you to tell the story of how you broke out of jail, like it's escape from Alcatraz type stuff in real life.
Everyone wants to hear the jail story. Just anyone watching on live too, I should flip the screen so I can see us up on screen. But yeah, we're just in the middle of a podcast interview, and I thought I'd just capture it on live. Sorry to jump in, and I'm gonna.
No, that's all right. Get it going. That's
exciting. So just so the audience can see what we're on. If anyone is interested, boom. Maybe that's so the jail escape, man. Fuck, I've been so blessed this week to be in. This is the third podcast in 3 days, right? And I've fucking told this story 3 times in 3 days.
That's good. So it easy. You can practice it.
But look, I'll give you the exciting version. Basically, what happened was I was in doing a sentence, only a pretty short sentence. So this just goes to show you the insanity, right? But on the outside, I had about $30,000 stashed. When I got pinched, when I got caught by the coppers, which was never my intention, of course, I had $30,000 still stashed outside, and that was just niggling away at me the whole time I was in custody. I had spent a couple of years in this same jail. It's called Old Silverwater. It's a medium security jail with the big high security barrel fences. There's probably a little less security. Like there's not guards on towers with guns and stuff. But apart from that, it's a full extreme. And there was this one spot in the jail that I had noticed over the years that I thought I could fucking get up there, Like it didn't make sense. It's hard to explain, but there's these big barrel fences, so there's this big barrel that permits or doesn't permit you climbing a fence. It makes it impossible. But in this one spot, the barrel was leaning both ways on another side. So anyway, it's hard to explain, but I managed to fucking shimmy up that fence after I was attending this religious program in the jail called Kairos. And at the end of that religious program, by the way, I went to that religious program because they had really good coffee and biscuits. And that's no offense to anyone who loves the religion stuff too. It's not really what.
No, but that was your hook to go.
Yeah, fucking hey, give me some coffee and biscuits, because being on the methadone too, you crave sugar. Actually, anyway, I managed to scale that fence after the visiting area. It was 8 o'clock at night. And while I was up on top of that fence, look, don't get me wrong, I'm kind of talking you through pretty quickly. I planned it a little bit. Like there was a bit of planning in the process.
It was a premeditated escape. It wasn't like a,
Nah, well, and I just say that because I guess I've told the story so many times, it might be easy for me to skip parts, but there was a plan. In fact, I'd even set up some cash to be with my girlfriend on the outside, so I knew. I even told her in code that I'd be coming home tonight. And
And she believed you.
And sure enough, I shimmied that fence. I don't know how I was really. I mean, when I was 23, I was a lot more agile than I am now. I would have been weighing in at about 65 kilos back then. Heroin took its toll on me. I'm 102 kilos at the moment, which is pretty average for me, you know. But anyway, I got up on that fence. I'm crawling along the top of the fence, and an officer has done a perimeter search. It was just unlucky, mate. So the plan was always to duck off that fence, jump down and get away quietly, you know. Well, that's not what happened. I got caught up on the fence. The squad was called. That's the Metropolitan Enforcement Unit. They call them the MEU. They're like the coppers at the jail. They sit out the front just waiting for someone to fucking play up.
They can't wait for someone like you to come along now.
Yeah. Boom. So the chase is on. Dog squads, the MEU, they're charging down Holker Street. I'm off. I've had to jump off these 24-foot barrel fence as well when Mr. Singh see me, and my arm ended up being black and blue from my shoulder to my wrist. So I've landed on the ground. I guess it hurt, fucking over hurt, but I mean, the adrenaline's rushing. I've run down the street. I've cut my legs up on the razor wire as well, through hopping through the fence, and I've head down to Parramatta River where I bounced a few fences. The squad was on my tail, but they couldn't get to me. For some reason, I managed to jump about 3 of these fences that were just there. And they couldn't get to me because they had dogs, I guess, and they couldn't see me either. And then I fucking dived into Parramatta River, bull shark infested river, swam across the river bleeding in a fucking panic, scared shitless, but just rushing to get to the other side. By this time, water police were on the river. Polair, the police helicopter was up in the sky, shining the light down. I was in mud up to my neck on the other side of the riverbank. Yeah.
That's all right.
Yeah,
breaking transmission.
We're back, folk. We're back. Yeah, mate. So I was up to mud up to my neck, and the coppers couldn't see me. I was like a fucking commando. Like literally, they couldn't see me unless they had a fucking heat detector because I was up to my neck in fucking mud. And mate, basically, I managed to fucking crawl along the mangroves for 200 meters, and I come up on Parramatta Speedway. The water police, Polair, the coppers are on the other side of the river. No one could get to me. And I got away, mate. I managed to fucking crawl or make my way across James Hughes Drive, where I managed to get into a taxi, which was amazing. But I was covered in mud. I'd rinsed myself off. It was raining that night. I was in jail, Greens. And basically I made my way to Perth. And 6 days later, I got caught with my partner in a hotel room in Perth. Police come running in, dragged me up by the poolside and touched me up a bit and dragged me back to Sydney, mate.
Gee whiz.
Yeah.
Day in the life of Danny Shannon back in the day.
Yeah, that was a good day or maybe a bad day. I mean, there was plenty of crazy shit that happened to me. And one other story, and like I guess this probably leads into the message that I wanted you to come on for people is, the recovery side of things. And I remember you saying you literally died a couple of times, and each time it's just coincidentally happened to be in front of an ambulance, and which leads me to believe you're here for a reason, mate. You must be here to do something fairly big, I'd reckon. So, tell us that story. Yeah, bro. So there was just one time I dropped in front of an ambulance. The rest of the times I was very lucky to be just found by the public. Like the thing is, I say often that I've overdosed 15 times, and that's very accurate. Like when I say that, it could have been maybe one less or maybe a couple more. But what would happen is I'd use too much heroin, knowing that I'd used too much, like I was a pig. And I know anyone out there who uses heroin knows what I'm talking about, like there was never enough, And the thing is, like I'd use too much and I would know the instant I had it, like the minute I put it away, and I'm talking about like injected into my arm, I would feel this warm rush. I'd get this taste and I'd just know by that feeling if I was going to overdose, basically. And I'd walk out somewhere and be found. One of those incidents, I was in Liverpool train station toilets, and I could feel I was going to drop. The minute I walked out of the toilet, basically I was on the platform, and I hit the deck, right? So lucky that fucking happened. And they've called the paramedics. Paramedics have given me CPR for probably 7 minutes, and Narcan, and they broke ribs. They broke 3 ribs, which had happened to me before. It's not the first time I had ribs broken from CPR. And I certainly remember those times, because for the next 3 months, you'd be nursing like these fucking sore ribs, and it's hard to explain. But when you know that was you dead, it's like, not that I was ever scared of dying, because I kept doing it, but it's different when you feel these ribs. You know that's from them saving your life. It's quite a unique. I still vividly remember those ribs, that feeling and that connection to death. And mate, yeah, I dropped one time on John Street, Cabramatta, in front of an ambulance. Like literally, I was fucking. And funny enough, that time, what I'd injected wasn't heroin. I reckon it was something else, because I didn't drop. Something else made me drop that time, because it was like I got ripped off. I remember I got ripped off, and I was walking to go and get more, and I just hit the fucking deck in front of an ambulance, smashed my face on the ground, maybe the bumper bar of the ambulance, busted my tooth, busted my lip. But yeah, anyway, yeah, so, and there's plenty of other occasions I've overdosed in rehab. I've overdosed, yeah, where people would always find me, thank God, or I'd be dead. I would
Thank God, literally, mate. Thank the higher power. Like I say, so that leads me into just, philosophically now, what has Danny Shannon become? I mean, you're 12, how many, 12 and what years recovered? What is it? You go it down to the day. You count by the day, don't you? What is it?
I do, brother. I'm just looking at the date. 12 years, 8 months, and 28 days clean and sober. Since I've had a mind or mood altering drug, it's been that fucking long, Shane.
Kudos to you.
And blessed, to, like I said it in the beginning of this podcast, I've got an incredible life. And I should just say too, like, I don't feel like, people ask me all the time, like, I help a lot of people in addiction on a daily basis. I'm often surrounded by drugs, not surrounded, but they're close by. I don't feel like using drugs at all. There's no urge.
Well, you've chosen your ideal life now, which is you cruising through, doing good by the people, and your family's obviously a huge part of that for you now. I know you're a family man, and that's a commendable thing as well, mate. But it's a reason to do it, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. You just remind me of my daughter, Malia. How are you?
Better check.
I've got the kid on the iPad. She's so quiet. You're such a good girl, Malia.
She's a good girl. And you got a public holiday down there in Sydney, have you? So that's why it's a day off.
Yeah, we went riding. We took her for a ride around the park and she's tired. She come back. She's laying on the floor. She said, "Daddy, I'm tired." I said, "All right, go sit on your bed."
What a good girl.
Got an interview.
What a good girl. So you're now. What would you consider yourself an entrepreneur now? I consider you an entrepreneur. You're not. Your story is getting a lot bigger than Danny Shannon, reformed heroin addict now. You know what I mean? I know it's a big part of your story, but I can see a time in the not too distant future where it's becoming a smaller part of your story. It's still the big major crux, but it's the part now that the next 20 years, what's Danny Shannon, the entrepreneur, going to do?
Thanks, Shane. What's her name? Paris from LinkedIn. You know her. She labeled me years ago. She said, "Danny, you're an entrepreneur, you're an inventor, and you're the founder of Encapsulator." So how the fuck I've gone from a heroin addict to being an entrepreneur, an inventor, and the founder of Encapsulator, which is a mobile application and web platform that I built that captures time capsule videos, allowing individuals, certainly on a journey of recovery, but maybe new mums and barbs or grandparents wanting to capture and send messages to their loved ones in the future. So we allow individuals to record messages of love and hope to their future self. They answer some questions that pop up on screen, which help the individual to create the best video possible. And then this video gets locked away into our time lock vault, like the countdown begins. You choose a date in the future and it'll be discovered by yourself or your loved ones in the future.
The glass bottle across the ocean. And and so it's live now. You can download this. Is that right?
Yeah, thanks. So yeah, look, I've come a long way. I've got a long way to go, but yes, incredibly blessed to have a live platform and mobile application can be found at Encapsulator or encapsulator.io. If you want to use the app, you actually need a subscription, and that subscription would have to be got from the internet, from the web platform. But yeah, we've been active for a few years. I've been incredibly blessed to get the message out there all over the world. I've been interviewed by fucking Americans, England. I was in a jail in England doing a workshop around Encapsulator. Crazy enough, I always had to keep that confidential. And I never really did plug that because it was the warden. I was chatting with the fucking warden of this jail over in England. And I was the product, Danny and Encapsulator in the jail. So, and I've been, television, The Current Affair, Channel 9, Channel 7, SBS. It's fucking a lot of fun, mate. I love
you're
it.
You're starting to get a real profile, aren't you? And it's great to watch, mate. It's great to see, And what we'll do is we'll promote Encapsulator on WorkApp, of course. I can make you a banner ad for that.
Yeah, thank you.
And that'll just click straight through because I'm going to start using TikTok for that as well. I watch some of those TikToks that come through, and they're a pretty good advertiser for T-shirts and this and that because you just click the shop now, which just takes you through to their website. And it's something I can do on WorkApp as well. So, list all those different things that want to be just clicked through to where they can go and download your stuff.
Yeah, sure.
So,
can you tell me a bit more about that? I'm not quite, and just for anyone watching too, what do you mean with that with WorkApp? Explain a little bit more to me about WorkApp.
Well, WorkApp's kind of like a business directory worldwide, but it's also an e-commerce platform for buying, selling and promoting without the fees. There's no fees. We've built WorkApp to be an automation. So there's no staff full of building full of staff. You know what I mean? We're keeping the cost down. We're in the cloud, but we're secure. We've been developing for 9.5 years.
Wow.
It costs like $6 million to develop WorkApp.
Okay, $6 million. That's so good to know. So far, Encapsulator's cost about $200K. So wow, see, that's what I mean. I've got such a long way to go. But
I can probably help save you quite a few million there now that I've done it.
Yeah.
There's ways you can save money, but you don't know until you endeavour it, and then you get there.
Absolutely.
And what we've got at our fingertips these days from a technology standpoint of being able to develop platforms now, you've got these third-party platforms that just license the use of their code and their product, and you can bolt together it on your product. And it's basically automation at its finest. Instead of having people in a building, what's the old model now where you're paying someone to do this? You build software that's quite automated and only needs a handful of people to keep the wheels oiled.
Isn't that great? The life today, the future is just incredible. A big shout out. Let me give a couple of shout outs to people like TikTok, for example, but too. What an incredible platform to get our message out there. We're streaming live right now from my live platform too. Everyone, you probably know this is Shane Wallace from WorkApp. And he's begun a podcast show, and I'm his first one on
first one.
Let's give them a plug too, the podcast people, Shane.
The Lucky Titan is the mob that I've just connected with, and they've got a product over there called the Pantheon. I'm pretty sure. I'm just fresh in it now. This is my first crack at it, and and because the way I'm sort of envisioning this show going is, I want to interview people like yourself that I consider you a goer. It's not just about the business and the entrepreneur and all that sort of thing. I like people that are goers, mate. You're having a crack. It's admirable. It's the type of person I want to interview is someone that's having a crack. And that way, failure is just not even a thing anymore because you really fail your way to success. You know what I mean? You got to dare to fail in order to succeed, or you're going to get nowhere. So you better rack up a few failures is the way I look at it,
You got to be brave, Shane. That's sort of thing. And be brave, have some courage, step out of your comfort zone, put one foot in front of the other and continue moving forward and smash your fucking goals. Dream big, I tell everyone.
Dream big. And take the knocks like with pride. Wear the knocks as a body armor because
good one, bro.
I used to go out and sell, right? And I used to count the no's instead of the yeses.
Yeah.
Because I worked out my average was 9 no's for 1 yes. So when I'd get to like the 6th no, I'd be like, oh, yeah, sweet, only 3 more no's to go. Can't wait to get them under my belt sort of thing,
Yeah, sure.
Next no, yes. Woo, and was always a 1 in 10.
Yeah, absolutely.
What I was selling, so I was like, well, mate, let's just play the numbers, And now organically, well, we're gonna promote Encapsulator. Work app's growing organically in the US market right now. We get somewhere between 50 and 100 businesses join Work app every week and list themselves on Work app.
Yep.
So it's becoming a business directory, and
amazing, right?
Well, separate to the likes of Google's business directory, I want this one to be like everyone on it. Concreters that you don't find on Google on the Work app business directory. Every business out there and apps. I think I might make a section for new apps that come and list themselves on the app section on Work app. You just developed an app. You're looking for everyone to look at your app and download it. Come on Work app and come and get some eyeballs. I'm not going to charge any money, and I'm not going to be worried that you're going to ruin Work app because you're a better app than Work app, or you're doing exactly what we're doing. No, you know what I mean? Come on aboard, but it's no sense in having fear around that. There's enough room for everyone.
I agree, mate. That's how you grow. The more we give, the more we the universe provides. I say that often too. And if you're gonna, that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna let the idea that somebody else is going to copy you or overtake you worry you, you're going to miss the fucking boat, because there's so many opportunities out there just waiting for us. And which is why I'm streaming this right now too. You just never know,
and you can't. It's fear-based thinking, and I know a lot of fear has come onto the planet over the last few years from what's happened. But I think there's also a growing tribe of people that are now starting to step out of the fear zone and say, well, you know what? If I don't be bold and have a crack at something in life, I'm going to go down as just having an ordinary life, and I know that I've got something better for me here. I want better than an ordinary life. I want an extraordinary life. Well, if you want an extraordinary life, you got to get scared, you got to get bold, and you got to take the step off the edge, the cliff of blind faith. Be willing to fail, and you will succeed.
Absolutely, mate. And look, so I get on live every night with TikTok Gary. You've seen us,
I watch it. I watch it.
Definitely want to give a shout out to Gary, because he's a fucking legend.
TikTok Gary. I'm gonna ask if he'll come on the podcast as well eventually.
Great. I was just about to say that.
Yeah, I haven't reached out to him on TikTok. I've been a little bit cautious on TikTok because I've watched it for the years and just like everything, but I can see it for what it's doing now. Is you're not getting rid of TikTok anytime soon, mate.
Get Gary on, and look, actually, Shane, I get a lot of people reach out to me on a daily basis, and people who are wanting to share their stories. So I've got plenty of people that can interview. If anyone's watching now, please drop your comments if you want to be interviewed. But then the topic is, what is it? Goers.
Conversations with goers, mate. He's a goer. She's a goer. There's heaps of goers out there, and I know it's an Aussie slang thing, but I've always, referred to someone. Oh yeah, they're a goer, mate. Yeah, he has a red hot crack. He'll put in a big effort. He'll go down with a fight. This fella, he's a goer, and there's men goers and female goers and all sorts of goers in life, and I want to find these goers and hear their stories. And
for people out there worried that they don't have something to share but want to get out there, here's the thing. And I say this all the time too: is find your passion. Just find your fucking passion and share it with the world. Everyone's got a passion, and there is a niche for every single passion too. So find your passion and share it with the world. Absolutely, Shane.
The business opportunities that are about to arise in the next 1 to 2 decades as we go into this digital transformation.
Love it. So exciting.
Insane. The opportunities are going to be just absolutely insane. And now you've got platforms like Zoom and that, and here we are connecting easily in video. I mean, this is top-notch technology, really. You know what I mean? The way of the future is more of this and platforms. I read a book when I started Work at 9 years ago, and it's one of the few books I've read because I'm not much into reading books, but my wife made me read it, and it was called The Rise of the Platforms, and it was about how over the next 2 decades all of these platforms are going to be built. Your Pinterest platforms and your social media platforms and your all sorts of hangouts and your the diversity in the platforms now are just unbelievable. And then you've got the cryptocurrency platforms, which they're just platform-driven type things. You've built a platform with Encapsulator. I've built a platform with Work app. It's the rise of the platforms, right? And it's the organic growth that you can get from word of mouth, from this virality, which we get an opportunity to have from TikTok and Zoom and doing these sort of things. So, the opportunities are monstrous. People have just got to get out of their road and have a crack and go, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I can fail. Well, so what? Have a crack.
No, have a crack. I've got my fingers in 47 pies at the moment. I like that number, lucky 47, but it's so true. Like I'm literally working 4 jobs at the moment. And yeah, look, I'm a little bit exhausted, but I've also got a big holiday coming up in just like less than 3 weeks. So
you're going to the US?
Yeah, going to the US. So I want to I want as much money as I can. I want to be comfortable, and not only that, like it's not so much the money. It's I've got to keep expanding because you just never know when you're about to fucking crack it.
You're going to crack it.
Yeah, and
we're going to crack it together. We're going to crack it together. I can tell you.
Fucking crack it.
Yeah. Why wouldn't you?
Beautiful, mate. Thank you.
And you've proven yourself to the universe that you're a goer. You've proven yourself to the universe that you've worked for this. You worked for it, mate. You deserve it. And it's got to be a belief thing. You've got to believe that you deserve it, which I know you do now because of your 12 plus years of proving yourself and the universe. Hey, I'm a worthy participant these days.
And look, I just so anyone knows, I left school in year 8. I got expelled for slashing the jumping castle with a pocket knife, right? And that was it, right? So, and here's the thing, like often people think, and it's true, like I came back at the age of 33 when I first entered drug and alcohol recovery in 2009 with no knowledge, of anything, except I had a lot of fucking life experience with drugs, but that's about it. But I started studying about 2 years into my recovery. They say like possession is 9/10 of the law. I say study is like 9/10 of the law too, because all you have to do is fucking turn up, mate. If anyone out there is afraid to go and study, think you can't do it, well, I didn't think I could fucking do it either. I ended up fucking completing a bachelor's degree at uni, mate. Like, to be honest, I'll get a fucking. I actually paid someone to do one of my subjects once.
Good point.
I paid someone to do one of my assignments.
Yeah, but see, that's called tenacity, and that's what the entrepreneurial spirit is, mate, right?
Fucking hope. But I turned up every class, mate. Like, some of the theory stuff does my fucking head in, but the practical stuff I'm really good at. And I think a lot of people have a lot of fear around, they can't do something. Well, the fact is, it's self-limiting beliefs. We can keep believing that and keep failing, or we can fucking step out of the comfort zone, because that's when the magic happens, and fucking crush it. So give it a fucking crack, guys.
Mate, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, either way, you're right.
You're right. Yeah, good one.
And it's so true, isn't it? It really comes down to your beliefs and like you say, following your passion, which is, it's commendable. So I want to sort of just ask Danny, like, what was it in the end that actually flicked the switch? Was it one thing, or was it just a culmination of things? How did you go from no hope to all hope?
Yeah,
now?
Beautiful. Shane, I didn't quite touch on this, or I didn't, but I actually did over 50 rehabilitation episodes, right? Wow. When I say a rehabilitation episode, I'm talking detox, committed to psych wards, rehabs, but I would have had over 50 attempts, right? Now, that's partly because I had this beautiful mum and loving sister who always on my fucking back about getting help, right? My dad on the other half, my dad on the other half wasn't like that. But anyway, and because of that, I just attempt to get clean. And what happened is, I reckon the seed had been planted. I knew there was a better way of life. In 2009, I entered another detox, let's say the 50th detox. And I feel like that time, the stars and planets just aligned right at the very moment that I decided this is my fucking time, And I say that I get a little bit emotional, even like it's kind of like a miracle. Thank God I'd tried so many times, but that day things just changed. And I did my last detox, mate. I fucking didn't pick up a drink or a drug ever again. And I'll share this part of the story too, and I love this. I was 60 days clean. It was Christmas time, 2009. It was the 24th of December. And I was about to throw it all away. I was about to get on. I was going to buy some heroin. I thought, fuck this, I can't. It's not that it's too painful, but I just had that compulsion to do it. And for some strange reason, I couldn't get on that day in Cabramatta. So the next day, I'd come back to King's Cross, and I thought, all right, I know I can get on there, 100%. And But across the road was a bus that was going to take me back to rehab where I was, or I could go up William Street and get on. And that day, for the very first time, I contemplated it. And I thought, look, if I go up there, I know what's going to happen. I'm probably going to end up back in rehab for the 51st attempt. I'll either end up in jail or maybe dead, or I could get on that bus and go back to rehab and not get on. And that day, for the first time in my life, I made a different decision. I didn't pick up that first drug, and one day at a time, one foot in front of the other, I've continued to move forward. And the obsession and compulsion, here's the biggest miracle, left me. About 3 days later, I never, ever come close to picking up a drug again. That was 12 and a half years ago now.
You made the decision, and that was it. Yeah, that's awesome.
And fuck, I put in a lot of work. It's so easy to say the obsession left me. I haven't stopped. I'm still working my ass off on my recovery. I do 5 NA meetings a week. I have a sponsor. I call in once or twice a week. I give back to other people every single day. I found myself a higher power, and I pray like a motherfucker. There's one more, and I do meetings every day too. So there's a lot of stuff I do. The hard way is the easy way. So all the stuff that I do on a daily basis, it's actually easy, because you know what? The shortcuts and the loopholes, which we think is the easy way, boom, you're fucked. You're back.
So when you say active recovery, it really is active recovery, because it's recovery by you being active.
I don't stop, brother. So that's my biggest career, actually, it's 51% recovery and 49% life. I don't put anything in front of my recovery, no matter what. And I hope to God awesome. I keep it that way for the rest of my life. Eh?
Yeah. Which obviously, you are. You thank God, and we're all. It's an expectation now that you're going to stay this way for the rest of your life. I mean, here I am. I'm 23 days sober. I haven't had a drink in 23 days.
How did that happen? How did that happen?
You're on TikTok. Scrolled up, and Big Dan's like, right, 90-day challenge, right? And I'll come back. Oh, geez, fucking, I'm in my head thinking, oh, geez. Oh, all right, I'm going to do it, because what I don't like doing, and I don't say that H word. I've worked hard my whole life to not say it, because it has a really negative connotation spiritually, right? Yep. So I've worked hard towards trying to work out, could I actually do it? Because I don't want to say I'm going to do it and I'm not going to do it, or I'm going to be disappointed in myself. And if I'm disappointed in myself, I'm just rather not do it, And so I thought about it. I thought, righto. And so I said to my wife, hey, I'm going to do 90 days. And she goes, woo, and she goes, but what, only 90? And I'm thinking, hey, I'm not going to put too much pressure on it. But right now, I'm indefinite. I'm not even going to stop at the 90 the way I'm feeling at the moment.
Congratulations.
I'm much more clear-headed. I've got I'm busy, so I need to have that extra productive time. So at this stage, it's 90 days plus. We'll see what the plus is. Like I say, you don't want to set yourself up for failure and call it, and then you don't make it. You're better off but right now, I don't have the urge, and I'm full of energy. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking, maybe. And my wife's very happy, and I'm kicking goals. So
do you know how that came about? I was doing an interview with Gary, of TikTok Gary, and we were having a chat. We're chatting, and I know he was getting on the drink, and he identifies as being in recovery, and I'm just sort of I said to him, like, how much do you drink? And he had a big weekend. I said, what would it be like to not have a drink for the next 90 days? I went for 90 days, which is a big number. We could have kept it, but we went 90, He said, yeah, fucking oath. And sure enough, he took it on, and that's how that little challenge came about. And look at you, Shane, fucking off the drink for 23 days. That's incredible, mate.
Like I say, and because I've done a bit of sort of study over the years with audio type books and everything, and they say it takes 21 days to kick a habit. Although, Greg Braden and what's the other one? I watch a fair bit of them. These scientists and that sort of thing, and they say that's individualised as well. It's not a clear cut, just 21 days. It depends on what else is going on. But I had that in my head of like, I've got to get to 21. The first week's always like, oh, geez, did a big day. Wouldn't mind a beer. Stop in for a couple, like just and I'm the sort of person where couple, doesn't cut it. Can't wait. Now I need at least another 6. You know what I mean? Now I'm not in the right mind to be able to do some work tonight, which I wanted to be productive tonight. So you spiral into not getting as much done as what you could have got done.
Definitely.
So for me now, it's only about, the only thing in my mind now is about, the next party I'm at. You know what I mean? Like that's
Sure.
where it's like, I'm gonna have to be like tough to just like and be happy in my own mind that I'm happy to be there, play, have fun, and but I don't have to have that drink sort of thing. But anyway, we'll see how that goes.
And it's hard to believe this, but like I promise, like for me, going to a party or to a club or to wherever, alcohol, like of course it's around me, but I don't think like, oh, I can't have one or anything. It's just like I just don't drink. That's it.
No,
You know, there's no big fucking deal. I just don't drink. It's not like,
good.
oh, I wish I could or whatever. Fuck that.
Because that's a toil in your mind now, and you want to
Yeah.
get that out of just like now. I don't bother to have one.
I love the idea of this concept that I don't need a drink or a drug to change the way I feel.
Yes,
That means I'm happy with who I am.
that's right.
That's what sells me on it. I love that, you know?
Yeah. Can you actually just be like genuinely not talking yourself into being happy? Like, come on, you can do it, you know. But actually, like, wow, I feel happy here. I'm really happy not having a drink. I'm having lovely conversation. I'm not slurring me words. I'm not going to be an absolute arsehole in about 4 drinks time. I'm not going to say something wrong.
All that shit. For sure, mate.
You know, how much trouble have you gotten in? I've gotten in heaps of trouble just from being a few too many, and now I'm a little bit mouthy. You know, it's like, and the next day you think, I wish I didn't say that. You live too much with regret, don't you?
Well, it's been a long time for me since, and I was never, to be honest, I never really drank anyway. I was just a fucking heroin addict. I just loved the heroin and coke.
You just loved it, yeah. And they say a lot of, I don't know, is this true? They say a lot of professional people, judges and lawyers and all sorts of people, live as heroin addicts, but high functioning heroin addicts that probably no one would even know. Is that like a thing?
Look, that's definitely not my experience, but yeah, you do hear that. Like you see it in the movies a lot too, I guess. But it's hard to hide a heroin addict. Like coke, yeah, maybe a lot of them get on the coke, but I think it's hard to hide the heroin.
Yeah,
sure, you know.
yeah,
But yeah,
right.
it definitely happens. I know people who their families apparently didn't know 10 years later. Like, what the fuck? Everyone fucking knows when I'm using heroin. I promise you that.
Yeah. Because you're a different Dan the man, aren't you?
Yeah, definitely.
You know. Well, this is awesome, bro. Well, I think we might wrap up there.